Escape from Tarkov, a game that has captured the minds and wallets of gamers from all around the world, has announced a new version of their game that adds basically a new offline co-op mode and disgusting pay-to-win mechanics in exchange for $250. And as if that wasn't despicable enough, if you bought their original $150 version of the game, Edge of Darkness, which claimed to include all future DLCs, you may miss out on some of the features included in this new version. And to distract players from this ridiculous situation, they also accused Arena Breakout Infinite of plagiarizing their game, which is oh so painfully ironic, especially if you know anything about Tarkov's inspirations. Let's get into this train wreck of a situation. So last week, Escape from Tarkov announced their new Unheard edition for the game, which at this point everyone's heard about. This is basically the new Edge of Darkness, which is the premium Tarkov experience, where by paying more, you get access to all kinds of perks and boosts, while also now getting access to a new PvE co-op mode, all for the low price of $250. It's basically the previous Edge of Darkness edition with a new co-op mode, which is just Tarkov without enemy players, a few new cosmetic stuff, new gear, and a whole bunch of pay-to-win mechanics. Another pain point of this is that the PvE only mode for Tarkov has basically been a mod for quite a while that players can install to play Tarkov in co-op with their friends. However, doing so will get you banned if you're caught, since it is a mod. So if you want access to basically what the mod was already doing, you've got to cough up some extra money for it. Now, the previous Edge of Darkness version, which cost only $150 and gave you all that premium Tarkov experience stuff, didn't technically give you access to the PvE co-op content with the new version. However, Battlestate Games has responded to the backlash, saying the Edge of Darkness version will get players access to the PvE mode now, though it will be rolled out in waves due to server availability. Battlestate Games also tried to claim that the new PvE mode was not DLC content, and therefore it didn't count as something that Edge of Darkness users should get for free. Since people who bought that version of the game got a little clause that said all future DLC is free, of course people were pretty upset that they weren't getting the new content. And somewhat ironically, the new Unheard edition claims to offer all future DLC for free as well. Just know that whatever DLC means to Battlestate Games probably isn't what it means to you. In fact, it's not really defined, so it could mean just about anything at this point, unless of course they get their pantsuit off. Now, opinion-wise, I don't even know where to begin with this one. The price point for premium Tarkov is just wild. They're absolutely banking on their player base to be so fanatical that they'll cough up that money for a bunch of pay-to-win mechanics. There isn't any sort of crazy new features. The PvE stuff is fairly lackluster considering it's the multiplayer game, just not multiplayer. It's sort of like they're taking a page out of Star Citizen's book with these crazy ship prices, except that they forgot to include the shiny new spaceship, which is crazy. Instead, they're just taking a more aggressive pay-to-win angle, which let me just tell you about what that whole pay-to-win deal actually is. Now, they've gone ahead and done the standard increased stash sizes, which is of course naturally bigger than the Edge of Darkness edition, so players who bought that are going to want to get the new upgrade. You'll get some player level boosts, which will be super helpful, more starting gear, but the real insane thing with this whole pay-to-win stuff is a brand new gadget that you can equip into a new item slot, so it's basically a free new gadget on your player, which reduces costs of things in game, it returns insured items to you faster, and it makes scavs, you know, the NPCs that roam around the levels that can kill you if you're not ready for them, it makes them not shoot at you if they're over 60 meters or further away. I mean, what the heck is that about? They're literally changing how in-game threats respond to you based on how much money you pay the game. This is crazy. Most players are willing to sort of overlook stash upgrades or progression boosters and stuff like that. Many companies get away with that sort of thing, even though it's still technically pay to get an advantage. This one is is just wild. It's pay to get a huge advantage. And that's not it. Eventually, this device will be upgraded with the ability to basically send out an alert, I think whenever you want or whenever you get in trouble or something, that will ping everyone on your friends list, and they'll then be able to join your server and come give you backup. This is obviously a huge advantage. It should just be like a base game feature or something built into how they want to design the game, but putting this feature behind a massive paywall that gives you just a huge advantage in the game is honestly despicable at this point. Also, the timing of this crazy move by Battlestate Games could not be worse. The market is about to drop some very potent competitors to Escape from Tarkov. And for years, the running joke is that no other game is going to kill Escape from Tarkov. Tarkov will kill itself, and they might literally be about to do it. The planets have aligned. The player base has never been more pissed off, more restricted by financial requirements, and now potentially great alternative options are about to drop with Gray Zone Warfare, Arena Breakout Infinite coming to PC, even games like Vigor, which I think are really competent extraction shooters but only on console. They just announced that they're coming to PC as well. So this new influx of competition combined with the insane price feels like it could be the last hurrah from the devs to just try and pocket as much money as possible from their fanatical fan base before they get overshadowed by the competition. It's either that or they just really are incredibly terrible at coming up with monetization models for their game that makes any sense, which is honestly quite likely. The player base has been screaming about adding paid cosmetics and stuff like that to the game rather than pay to win mechanics. You know, the go-to method for pretty much any other microtransaction game out there. But Battlestate Games is a Russian-based developer, and most Russian developers are very used to pay-to-win approaches for monetizing their game and more or less getting away with it. But this time, in my opinion, they've gone too far, and it could spell absolute disaster for the future of this game. And boy, do I wish I could stop the bad news there, but it gets worse. They just don't know when to stop. The very same day that they dropped the trailer announcement for the Unheard edition of the game, which of course got slammed on YouTube with tons of downvotes and community backlash across the board, the game Arena Breakout Infinite decided to take advantage and poke the bear with a tweet saying that they would take in all the newly homeless looter-shooter players as they wave goodbye to Tarkov. Naturally, Battlestate Games took the bait on Twitter because they have the emotional maturity of a drama influencer, quoting the tweet and saying that people would enjoy their 20 minutes of fun in Arena Breakout in the blatantly plagiarized game. Which, oh boy, not only does their retweet have a community note already correcting what plagiarism is in the game world and what you can and can't be sued over, but the tweet is also loaded with irony. The Stalker franchise of games are basically the main influence for all survival and extraction shooters we play today. The whole concept of Roadside Picnic, the book which Stalker is based on, is that stalkers, who are basically the hired guns in that world, will go into this forbidden zone and grab artifacts and bring them back to the people paying them. The game Stalker took the book concept and turned it into a single-player game with a similar premise, a few differences here and there, but basically it's all based on this book, and later the movie Stalker, which also helped to establish a lot of the visual styling. And Tarkov looked at the game Stalker and basically copied the visuals, the looting and health systems, and many other things, and just turned it into a multiplayer experience. And I'm not even faulting them for doing that. It's just not even a question of where they got their influences from, considering that Tarkov is literally a reference to Tarkovsky, who directed the Stalker movie. The name of the game is saying where they got their influences directly from. So for them to call another game plagiarizing because it looks like Escape from Tarkov when they themselves are basically a multiplayer version of Stalker is just painful to watch, and shows them as being obnoxiously unaware at this point. It's either that or they're playing some level of 4D chess that I have no idea about weird PR tactics, but I think this time Battlestate Games has dug themselves into a hole that may be the beginning of the end for them. Just like a singular announcement from Unity's now ex-CEO sent that company into a nosedive of firings and engine abandonment across the industry, this singular move from Battlestate Games may finally drive a wedge deep enough into the player base that it could never recover. $250 is just too damn high a price to force players to pay in order to have any sort of fair experience in the multiplayer version. What do you guys make of all of this? I want to know about it in the comments. Is this possibly one of the biggest dev meltdowns of all time? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave me a like, subscribe for more content like it, hit that notification bell to beat the YouTube algorithm with me. And up next, check out this video on a game called Deadside, which is actually a very cool sort of looter survival shooter that you may have not heard of, but is incredibly good right now. And I highly recommend checking out the video and the game itself. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.